Hello and welcome back to Crimax. Today we are switching roles once again. Courtland's going to tell you a story, which I actually really enjoy since I'm the editor. I enjoy your voice a lot. And today we're talking about a case that is not murder. Today we're covering the Fritzl case, which happens in Austria. And there's no murder for once, which is, yay, no one died. So I'm also going to tell you your fun fact for today before we get started. Are you ready for this?
Let's do it.
So we all know in the 80s there was like the putting the missing kids on the milk carton thing.
Collect the set.
Yeah, I guess you could technically with every child. So there were 700 independent dairies who, decided to do this. And it faded out a couple years later. However, it solved 0 crimes. I feel like it was doomed from the start. I mean,
it was a good idea.
It was a good idea.
Good try.
Get awareness out there. First of all, milk cartons is mostly kids drinking milk, I think, in schools and stuff. So it's really adults who are going to recognize someone and point them out and call the police for it. It was kind of a doomed effort, but it didn't solve anything. Not even one, but we all know it was a thing that happened. So I thought that was a fun fact.
I'm sure there's someone out there that has just a whole, the whole collection. He has just about every single one. And believe it or not, man, I swear one day I would love to know how much that would be worth.
Nothing. It didn't do anything. It's milk.
No, I know, but okay, so things that are worth nothing and then disappear after a few years somehow, they're you have a whole set, the whole collection, it's gotta be worth something.
Not really.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but still, it's milk. Milk gets so nasty after
you clean the carton.
I guess you just cut the child out of the carton, or you just keep the whole empty nasty box.
You keep the whole empty box.
Cardboard.
No, it's not. It's got a wax coating, so nasty. You dump it out, clean the inside of it, and well, bam.
That's gross. I'll look it up and see if someone collects that, but that's nasty. But anyways.
What you could do, what would be awesome, is collect and keep it in mint condition. Milk and all inside. Never open.
Ew.
At that point, it's just cottage cheese.
Yeah, that's nasty. Anyways, you ready to get into today's case?
Let's do it. This week's case is on the Fritzl case, perpetrated by Josef Fritzl on his daughter Elisabeth Fritzl in Austria from 1984 to 2008.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
24 years is a long time.
Yeah. Josef Fritzl was born April 9th, 1935 in Austria, where this story takes place. At the age of 21 in 1956, he married Rosemary, who was 17 at the time. The couple had a total of 7 children together, which included 3 sons and 4 daughters.
That's a lot of kids.
In those times, yeah. Well, at any time, but...
It's not even that long ago, though.
One of which was his daughter, Elisabeth. Joseph started abusing his daughter when she was just 11 years old, and it isn't clear if he abused all of his children or just Elisabeth specifically. In 1983, 17-year-old Elisabeth ran away from home but was returned to her parents just 3 weeks after hiding in Vienna at a friend's house.
I guess if you're getting abused, running away is the best option, but when you're 17, you're going to get brought back home.
On August 28, 1984, when Elisabeth was 18 years old, her father Joseph took her into the 380-square-foot basement of their home to help him carry a door and install it, which would be the last piece of his chamber he needed to keep her captive. Wow, building your own jail, basically.
Yeah, help me with this door. You hold it up while I screw it in.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
Joseph took an ether-soaked towel and smothered Elisabeth until she was unconscious, then locked her in the basement of their home, which was only 5'6" in height.
So I guess if you're tall or you're our height, you're smushed in there.
Elisabeth's mother, Rosemary, obviously was alarmed by her daughter's disappearance and filed a missing persons report with the police, having no idea her daughter was so close to her all along. Joseph waited a month, then had Elisabeth, while in captivity, write a letter claiming she ran away from her family on purpose, and Joseph said she probably had joined a religious cult which made her leave.
It's always a cult.
Wait, so he locked her in their basement?
Yep.
Does she just never goes, the mother never goes down there?
No. Fuck. No, she doesn't.
And
no
can't hear
asked.
Anything from the basement? What did he do? Soundproof everything?
It is insulated. The basement was insulated, but it was one of those nasty, muggy, moldy, dirty basements. So it's not an area. It's not a real room.
Joseph kept Elisabeth captive for the next 24 years and visited her at least 3 times a week, trying to go visit her every day if he could find a way to do so discreetly. He brought her food and supplies to keep her alive so he could rape her countless times. Elisabeth would be pregnant by her father in the basement, even carrying 7 to full term and giving birth to each of them without medical treatment, even though it's known that children of incest often have complications. One child died shortly after birth, and 3 of them, Lisa, Monica, and Alexander, were allowed to leave the cellar as infants to be raised in the house above with Joseph and Rosemary. Where did she think he was getting these kids?
Oh, don't worry, it explains. But like, you have 7 kids down there, right? Or 6, because one died. You just pick 3 you like and you send them upstairs?
The Fritzl family were authorized foster parents, and Joseph claimed the infants that showed up were a result of Elisabeth sending them there as she could not care for them herself, so she thought her parents would do so. The Fritzl family had regular visits from social workers, and because they were authorized parents or foster parents, nobody had any suspicions.
No, this was normal.
Yeah. Elisabeth and the 3 children, Kirsten, Stefan, and Felix, were threatened that they'd be gassed or receive electric shock to death if they attempted escape or messed with the cellar door at any time. The threat was unfounded as Joseph had no ability to obtain gas to kill them, but it was enough to frighten them into compliance. Well, of course, they're kids. The family had a tenant for 12 years renting a ground floor room and often heard noises coming from the basement, but Joseph just explained them as faulty pipes or gas heating system. In 1994, after Elisabeth had given birth to 4 of her 7 children, Joseph extended their homemade prison to 590 square feet, which is about the equivalent of a mini home display inside of an IKEA or a small studio apartment. The expansion was only made possible by Elisabeth and her children digging through dirt with their bare hands to try and widen it. The captive family members were allowed small entertainment through a TV, radio, and videotape player. They had a small refrigerator and hot plates to cook food brought down to them by Josef Fritzl. Elisabeth passed the time by doing the best she could to teach the children to read and write. But this was made extremely difficult by Joseph cutting off all their lights and leaving them without food for days on end whenever he felt like they needed to be punished.
Oh, y'all are enjoying shit? No food, no lights, no electricity for days. Just in the dark, just in the black for days.
Do they have a toilet?
They do have a toilet, yes.
Oh, good.
I don't know. Sitting in the dark for days just seems fucking miserable.
Yeah. Joseph's cover story, according to her sister-in-law, Christine, for going to the basement every day at 9 a.m. was to draw plans for machines that he sold to firms. When he stayed down there for the night, he allowed no interference from his wife, family members, or children, even though his wife often offered to bring him coffee while he worked.
Yeah, which they had 7 children with his wife, and then he has 6
7
more. Yeah, 7, but one died. 6 more. Yeah. And then he has foster children, too.
On April 19, 2008, 24 years after being captured and held captive by her father, Elisabeth convinced Josef Fritzl to get medical help for their eldest daughter, Kirsten. Kirsten was unconscious, and Elisabeth helped Joseph carry her out of the chamber, but then she was put back in. This was the first time Elisabeth saw the outside of the basement prison in 24 years.
Or light.
Yeah. But she would finally be free a week later. Kirsten was taken by ambulance to the hospital and was treated for life-threatening kidney failure. Joseph had an excuse for having this girl, and with him, of course, claiming the girl's mother gave him a note asking for help with her, but medical personnel didn't buy his story. The police were contacted on April 21st, 2008, and made a public appeal asking the girl's mother to come forward to give them information and medical history of the girl, and they also looked into Elisabeth's disappearance in 1984. Elisabeth had written several letters over the years, forced by her father's hand, to explain her whereabouts, but the police noticed the dictated, unnatural format of them. Thank God.
It took them fucking 24 years to look at it. Sorry, not coming home, joined cult, no questions, here's 3 kids. Bye. Yeah. What?
Yeah, but sometimes that happens, but I mean, after that, I mean, it wasn't until a second thing where it's like, this doesn't seem right. Let's look back at this. Yeah.
He keeps acquiring children. This one was like a teenager.
I'd assume the child would have routed him out.
If she's unconscious from kidney failure, they put her in a coma.
Okay.
So a medical induced coma to keep her under control and balanced. So she wasn't able to speak. That's why they wanted the mother to be like, what's her medical history? Do you have any allergies? Blah, blah, blah.
On April 26th, Elisabeth was able to talk Josef into taking her to the hospital to try and help save their daughter by providing information about her. The police received a tip that Elisabeth was at the hospital with Josef and detained him to look into why he had not resolved the missing persons report. Elisabeth would not speak until being guaranteed that she'd never have to see her father again. Then, over the next 2 hours, shared her trials over the last 24 years with the police. She told them of the countless rapes, being forced to watch pornographic videos, then reenact them with her father in front of her children.
Yeah, to humiliate her.
Josef Fritz was arrested at the age of 73, and the entry code to the basement was given so that the other 2 children could be rescued. Rosemary Fritzl, Elisabeth's mother and Josef's wife, had no knowledge of what had happened to her daughter all of these years ago.
I call bullshit.
I know,
I call fucking bullshit on that
there's
one.
no way you're just that.
I mean, a cute little doting housewife who doesn't bother in his man's business. Cool, whatever. But like 24 years, you never once opened the fucking door?
Yeah.
Seems negligent. And then apparently she believes the whole cult story. So, like, don't ask questions or anything, Rosemary.
Yeah.
Yeah, even after this, they don't get along, the mom and the daughter. I mean, they have a better relationship now after years. But, like, she didn't know why she would just believe her shit, why she never investigated, why she went missing. So their relationship was very strained, and I totally see why.
DNA tests confirmed Joseph's paternity to the children through incest. On March 16th, 2009, Josef went to trial and Elisabeth did not attend the first day of the trial, but tapes of her sharing her experience were used. She explained the sexual torture, damp and moldy living conditions in a tight, low quarters, giving birth down there 7 times, and the jury were even given a box of musty items taken from the basement which reeked so bad that they flinched.
So it was stinky, moldy, damp, dirty, and short, in close quarters.
Oh, yeah. Elisabeth did come to the second day of the criminal trial, and when Josef saw her, he got pale in the face, then broke down. Josef Fritzl was inevitably charged with life without the possibility of parole for 15 years from the 24-year imprisonment. Rape, torture, enslavement, and incest. Some things to also note is that Elisabeth and her children were in okay health considering their conditions, but were still malnourished, weak, and in need of vitamin D from the lack of sunlight. They also needed eye therapy to help them adjust to seeing light after years in dark space, and help adjusting to space to move around in which the children had never experienced.
How do you think that works? Like, you're not used to having the freedom to move around?
So I think of it as just you're being trapped or confined in a small space, and now you're automatically thrown into this huge environment.
Yeah.
I would think that it would be almost like and you would have an anxiety attack. Just you have so much that you just don't know. Because
They would huddle together.
especially with the kids. I mean, not even the fact that they have so much space and that they're seeing light, but they're also seeing things that they never seen before.
Sunlight.
Well, no, I'm talking about just like
Cars,
stuff. Objects, sounds.
I mean, they had a
smells.
TV. They had a TV, but it's not the same at all.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
It's the other people. They've never seen anyone besides him and her.
yeah, but the fact that they were able to, they had so many people, they would have some social skills. Rosemary, Elisabeth, and her 6 surviving children were offered new identities and given medical/psychological treatment by a local clinic. Stefan, one of the children, couldn't walk properly because he was 5'8", which was taller than the basement he grew up in. The children would be induced into panic attacks by everyday things like a dimming light or the sound of a closing door.
So basically, that's it. And what do you think, honey? I know this was new information for you, but you read it. Okay, first of all, my first note before you start being like, bleh. Keep it in your pants, bro. First of all, don't kidnap people, whatever. But he had 7 kids. Then he had 7 kids again.
With one of his kids.
With one of his kids. Yeah. What do you think, though?
I just can't believe he made it that long.
Honestly.
I mean, really?
Honestly, part of me thinks that, like, the mother should be charged with neglect.
How stupid.
Can you be charged with ignorance?
I don't know.
It's kind of neglect, though, if you didn't even look for your daughter in your own house.
I mean, to an extent, I get it. You know, from the notes, she just believed that and let it be.
Every day? You never went down there once?
Exactly. Yeah, but yeah.
24 years?
Yeah. I mean, that's just there's no way. I mean, there's no way he was home all the time.
No, he wasn't.
And there's no way that there's just
He
no
would
way.
sleep down there with them, like on a frequent basis, and she was just like cool with it. What?
There's no way.
There's no way. I have this thing where like I see a case like this and I'm like, why are the women always in denial? I'm not saying women are in denial all the time and stuff, but we just did the McDonald's massacre where she was like suing him. The food made him do it. Suing McDonald's for that. And now this bitch. What the fuck?
Yeah. Oh man, they be on some whole new shit.
I know, right? What is going on? Also, they do still live in Austria, live in a little village. They decided not to change their identities, but like no one bothers them, which is good. And then Rosemary and her daughter talk sometimes now. I would never talk to her again personally. You never came looking for me? Nope, done. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us for today's case. I know we don't have that many thoughts, but it's a pretty straightforward one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.